What broke off the chair?
The like mechanism that like locks how far back it tilts in place.
Oh no, you have no. So you don't have the backrest, basically.
Well, no, it's like the chair like is like tilted. The entire chair.
Oh, the entire chair swivels. Oh no, that's the worst.
Yeah. So like it's further forward than I would like. Normally I have it back a few clicks.
So
I'm like a bit more upright. So I have to like physically hold myself at the right angle now.
No,
which is really annoying.
No, that's awful. That's the worst. The absolute worst.
I'm out of warranty on the chair, but the customer service I think is going to send me a replacement part. It didn't get back to me after yesterday. Holiday. So we'll see.
Not optimal.
Not optimal, but in the words of every power metal band, carry on.
Gotta carry on. Yeah. That's the motto of the genre.
My Wayward Son. Has anyone ever made power metal Carry On My Wayward Son with all the carrying on power metal bands do? Just think about that.
I mean, the intro.
It makes sense, right?
The intro, the chorus with the chorus intro with the harmonized vocals is very power metal, but then nothing else.
It's Fly Away. It's Power Quest.
Yeah, but then absolutely nothing else sounds power metal about that song.
No, but don't worry about that.
Okay.
All right. Well, I will survive here.
Yeah, and hopefully I don't lose power while we record.
Yeah, recording this episode, which is supposed to be a simple episode, has been a struggle.
The simplest of episodes, taking 2 weeks already.
Yeah. Sup Nerds, and welcome to Powerful, the Power Metal Podcast, the most goddamn powerful podcast you'll ever hear on this here internet. My name is Kyle, and I am joined by my friend Fernando.
Hello, Kyle.
Fernando, we're back from the traveling and the interviews, and it's time for just a lads episode.
Yeah,
we just got to settle in with some music,
bringing it back down to basics, as we sometimes do now. I think these are the lesser episodes now, but we still do it. Keep it simple. No international travel. No.
It is a core part of the Powerful experience to have me talk about some albums that I listened to a few times, and you said, "Oh, maybe I'll listen to that," and then you don't because you're working on other stuff, and it's just and that's how we carry on. It's great.
That's how we carry on. That's how this works. Kyle is gonna tell me about what he has listened to. I might have listened to some of the albums, and I have opinions
of them. The thing I've listened to the most, I think, in the intervening time between episodes, is probably the soundtrack to the video game Clair Obscure Expedition 33, which is phenomenal. And I've been listening to that music a lot.
Oh, cool. Like just the music outside of the game?
Yeah, like either like area themes or boss themes. It's good stuff.
Nice. I have no idea what the game is, but I trust you that it's cool.
Excellent. Well, we won't focus on that. They're French. We don't want to give them too much attention.
Don't be like
focus
that.
We can't let them getting too high an opinion of themselves, Fernando.
They have a high opinion of themselves, whatever you say or not.
Can't give them any more. Instead, let's talk about just one of those core countries to power metal. Let's talk about Italy.
Yeah,
because ancient bards are finally back after like 6 years or something. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
Finally following up on the story of their previous album Origine, we have now Artifacts, this new album that's taken a minute from the symphonic power metal maestros of ancient bards.
Yeah, it's been a long while. I remember when Origine came out, and it was pretty cool. They had cool videos, cool musics. I think, though, it's like the standard time. Like the previous album to Origine also was a similar gap to release, I think. So it's not.
It wasn't 6 years, I'll tell you that.
Wasn't? Oh, it was 5.
Exactly. But think about how long the previous 6 years have been.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
a lot of events. The difference between 2014 and 2019 is not the same as 2019 to 2025.
Not at all. Definitely not at all. There was a lot of talk behind the scenes from like various band members being like, yeah, I don't know if it's ever going to come out. And so that like doubt was setting in, you know, but now it's here, it's out, and I'm stoked to talk about it. So, you know how we always talk about how albums start with like useless intro tracks?
Yes.
Well, this one does have an intro track,
Yes.
but I would not call it useless.
Oh, really?
Because the intro, Luminance and Abyss, is basically a previously on
That's the
section to the lore.
Oh my god. That's
Which, you know, I kind of appreciate. It's better than just having some symphonic nonsense. So, did you approve of the lore previously on there?
Yeah, I skipped the track like halfway through. I don't care about what's going on. Sorry. It's just I didn't process it on the previous albums, and I was
quick
not processing
version
it
is this
now.
is basically like a duel between two siblings.
I mean, I'm not angry with you. You can care about it. That's fine.
Okay, well, I was paying attention. I've gone through reading the lyrics, and so I know the lore. I know what's happening.
Go for it. Enlighten.
All right. Well, the quick version is that so this album and the previous one are part of a new trilogy, with the first three albums being the first trilogy. This is basically like a prequel explaining the origins of the Black Crystal Sword, which was central to the story of the first trilogy. And the crux of this album is basically these two siblings, the main character Irene and her brother Lork, coming together in a big fight, and stuff happens. So that's the basics of the lore for this album.
I see. Nice.
My struggle with pretty much any concept story album like this, when I'm reading through the lyrics, is I don't always know who's speaking.
Uh-huh.
And that can dramatically change your interpretation of what is being said and what the thoughts and events you're supposed to be understanding are. And maybe there's like a physical version that tells you who the fuck is talking in these songs, but it did make my lyrics go through a bit of a struggle. But I still get like the gist of it.
I see. Yeah, I can imagine how that can be a problem with interpretation when it's one vocalist and sometimes it's a point of view thing.
Yeah, so Sarah's vocals which are like a highlight of Ancient Bards' music in general. She's doing pretty much all the main stuff here with a couple of exceptions. There's the harsher vocals, which are usually done to portray things from the perspective of Lork, the like evil character, or at least his like when his inner darkness is talking. That's when they use the harsh vocals. So I do like the way they play with it there, giving it this more like musical theater quality. But when it's other characters, it's less clear to me. Or of course, and then there's also like the narrator voice guy, because why not?
Right. I'm not
from a more
fan.
musical perspective.
Yeah.
From a more musical perspective, I did really like this album. I think it does a really good job of capturing like the grandiosity and the epicness that symphonic metal is always trying to do when they're like doing this like sort of soundtracky type of thing. And when I follow the album more as like almost like a play as opposed to just a regular power metal album, I think I enjoyed it more. Because as a power metal album, there's only like 3 or 4 like power metal-y songs on here out of like an hour-long album.
I guess.
So I think coming at it from a different perspective will be helpful. Granted, those songs are really sick. So songs like My Prima Knock or Soulbound Symphony, I think are quite good.
Yeah, I enjoyed listening to the whole album mostly. I never actually thought about it like, just a few songs are like strictly more power metal-y sounding and the rest is just symphonic OST stuff.
Yeah.
But you're right. In a way, it is very much, I care more about the orchestra. But it's very nice. I read around some people that didn't like it. They think it's repetitive. And Like
I wouldn't say repetitive. No,
not repetitive within the album, but sounding like other stuff and like other symphonic bands. But I didn't get much that personally. I think it's still worth.
I think that they definitely
it.
still have their own.
Yeah,
like,
I think they
style,
have their own.
voice.
Yeah. I was surprised to see those comments around online.
Yeah, even the like ancient bards they're ballads. I tend to feel like I enjoy more than the average power metal band ballad. I think it's a real highlight for Sarah's vocals, and I think me knowing the story and like connecting to that more also helps too.
Emotional attachment.
Yes,
so you actually
I resonate
get
with the emotions more.
Yeah,
yes.
that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I like them as well, though. It's not just that. It's not just that you need to know the characters to care about the music.
One part where this
helps.
being a whole concept thing really, I think, paid off for me was, I think it's in the song My Blood and Blade, which is like the actual like duel between the two main characters. There's this like choir part underneath, I think the chorus, where it's actually a callback to like the choir part of the opening track of Origine.
Oh.
Where that song is like a flash forward to them having their duel.
Oh.
And now that the duel is actually happening, it's referencing that earlier song in like the choir bit, which I thought was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Maybe I made a mistake not listening again to the other album before this one, because I would not remember that. That is so cool.
I don't think you would notice it consciously unless you were like really looking for it. It's just like, at first I was struggling because I'm like, what are they saying in this choir bit? And then it kind of hit me like, oh wait, that's the dun 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 of like from impatient dystopia. I think is how you say that other track.
Yeah.
So like they don't do these connections like all the time, but I thought it was cool to pick up on that.
Yeah, that's very cool. I like that a lot.
My big lore nerd complaint here though is that like the end of this album ends on like another huge cliffhanger.
I think but you knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah, but like they flash forward in time again to like past the original saga, and the villain from that is apparently alive again, fucking Sendor. So what's gonna happen next? Find out in, I don't know, 6 years. Fuck me. Overall, cool album. I definitely recommend listening to it for fans of symphonic power metal.
It's I think this is easy to recommend to anyone that likes symphonic stuff. It's just good. Like I don't think you can really put anything too much against this album. Just the recap track.
Yeah, like a recap track at the start, a bunch of like narration and like voiceover stuff at the end. It's whatever. Oh, I totally forgot. My least favorite part of this whole album is that the Wind Rose singer shows up for a song.
Yeah, he shows on the Vessel,
which
Francesco Cavalieri.
Yeah, I don't really like his vocals. Like, it works for Wind Rose's shtick, but like I didn't really like him in Fairyland, and I didn't really like him here. Maybe that's part of my just like bias against like Wind Rose's like place in the industry, but that's a whole other topic.
That's a different. Really, yeah, we don't need to talk about that right now.
It's not really fair to the songs that way. Yeah, we can ignore that for now.
I can get it. Yeah. I didn't mind it. It's just cool. Another voice is there because he's not actually bad.
No, he's a fine singer.
It's just that if you immediately associate that voice with all the other stuff, I can see that being annoying.
Yeah, and like it's something about his specific style just doesn't quite work with me when it's not. It works with Wind Rose because they're doing like the dwarven choir thing.
Yeah, it's the context. It matches the context, and here it's not matching for you. Yeah.
Yeah, not exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, it's a cool album, all in all. Big
cool album.
Recommend.
We had at the top of the episode. Now let's get to the top of the tower and talk about Hagane. Steel.
We switches exactly. I wonder how many people know that Hagane means steel. I think a lot of people.
It's so much cooler when you learn that.
I think a lot of English speakers would be more primed to listen to them when they learn that.
It completely changes because it's like, oh, it's another one of them Japanese girl bands, but their name is just Steel,
Just
which makes
nothing
it
else.
so much more metal.
Yeah. And this is the album Top of the Tower, which is more J-Rocky sounding than
It's a
the
mixture
EP.
of styles. It has like very J-Rocky, like catchy stuff. There's like a song towards the end with these like fucking like anime outro like clapping bits in it that is like so silly sounding, but it gets me and it's really great. They've got like really hardcore power metal stuff. They've got like more like Japanese folk stuff and like a song or two. They've got like an epic instrumental track. Like I'm very impressed with the variety of styles that they're taking on here.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I think like songwriting wise, they are following on the trend that I think I mentioned in an episode forever ago. That the first time I listened to some Hagane songs, they were like not quite there. Like I found them through some videos on YouTube, some of their first music videos.
Yeah,
they already had a video at the church, and
yeah, they were real quick.
Yeah, and I wasn't
on getting in the church,
but I wasn't jiving on the actual song. But then they did the EP, and it was like, oh, now we're talking. Now we're cooking. This works.
They've improved a lot over just like a couple of years.
Yeah. I think they did something like some reassessment, or they switched some things internally, or they learned new things, and now it's pretty good. And I think this album follows that trend. I really like listening to most of all these songs, and I actually, no surprise, because I like a lot of J-Rock stuff. I like how they mix and match elements that in the West, they are more segregated by genre, that in Japan are not. In Japan, everything goes. Everything is considered to be popular music. Everything is pop music. So you use the elements without much prejudice compared to here, this side of the planet. And that's a neat positive. The sound, like the guitar tones, the drums, all of the general mix sounds more like J-Rock now than super shiny power metal, but all the content is there, and it's really, really good. And if you have never heard of this band, dear listener, you should go listen to them because it's worth it.
Yeah, Top of the Tower is definitely a place where I think I'd recommend people jump in. Like if they really want to like hit some of the earlier stuff and like see where they've been, they could. But I think if you had to pick one, I'd say definitely go for Top of the Tower as the top of your journey, perhaps, to really get in there.
I mean, they have the song. You can listen to the single before this album, which was "Start Our Journey."
Pretty good song,
but it has that difference in sound. So be careful. Know that Top of the Tower sounds a bit more rounded than shiny, if that makes sense. And some people might feel, oh, this is just J-Rock, but it's very, very power metal. It has all the little cool things, all the active lead guitars, dwelling harmonies, great, very good, powerful vocals, fast stuff, and sometimes very cool changes in mood. That is something that we don't get with a lot of other bands. This is why I really like Japanese bands. They are not afraid of using different moods in songs. When metalheads
I think it's the song. I think it's Records of Tsurugi is the one that almost feels like a rhythm section showcase with like a bigger emphasis on like the drums and bass, just like kind of shining on their own.
Maybe, yeah. I don't really remember them by name, but yeah, that happens. They have videos of just the bass player doing songs and the drummer as well. So they have the chops. They show them off, which is great to see as well.
Yeah, when I compare this to like a couple of my other favorite bands from Japan, which would be like Galnerius or Love Bites, I feel like Hagane aren't really going for like the like big shred that those other bands do. It's not like, because with those bands, like I feel like the like big guitar solos and just going crazy is part of the appeal for me. Whereas like that's all good here, but it feels like less of a focus compared to like broader like types of songs.
Yeah, if you compare it to those bands, like specifically the two bands that you mentioned, Galnerius and Love Bites, they are very relatively old school. Like Galnerius is built around a shredder. It's all around Shu and Yuki on the keyboards. It's built for technicality.
And we love them for it.
And yeah, obviously. And they come from the school of like, yeah, Paul Gilbert is my idol on everything that I do. And Deep Purple is my shining star. So that makes sense. And Love Bites was originally created from a fan of Iron Maiden and Old Halloween. So
yeah,
it is, again, built on those older values. Hagane is more closer to our time in that it's everything. It's just the songs are cool with whatever tool, but they still do have very strong guitar work, which is something that I think we have less and less in the more popular releases, because we live in an age where guitar playing is not the mainstream appeal thing that it used to be back in the day. But they still do it. They have very good lead guitar sections. It's not 10-minute solos per every song, but there's a lot of that too. You just have to like enjoy listening, actually listen to it. Don't just close off and go, I don't understand the lyrics, I will nod off. No, pay attention. It's very cool. And the vocals are good, and the stuff is good. They are going to play in Europe next year in Epic Fest.
Yeah, like
their first international show.
When I was listening to this album, and I'm like, damn, this is actually pretty good. This is better than I expected it to be. Like, it was getting me really hyped for their appearance at Epic Fest next year. And it's like, well, I guess I'm locked into Epic Fest for next year.
Everyone in Europe, get familiar with this, because it might be worth going to that show. And the people on the States that are starving for international shows that can't afford to, maybe that's your chance to.
Yeah, I know we'll probably talk about this more, especially after like the Mad with Power episode, but just like every week seeing like blow after blow of, this band has to pull out. I think the Americans are, finances, allowing, are going to be getting desperate to go overseas for stuff like this.
But yeah, big recommend again. Listen to Hagane. Listen to Steel, Top of the Tower.
Yeah, I think this might be the album I've kind of come back to the most for this year. We'll see where it ends up on, album of the year standpoints when we when we get to that.
It actually is some pretty regular rotation for me as well. Well, at least the songs, some of the songs in it.
It's easy listening, but like it's good, and it tickles of different parts of your brain. It's all very pleasant. Yeah,
you got some people could say, hey, but this is not my like super niche, straight up power metal, 100% true, period, whatever. And it's like, it's good music, so that wins. Screw the niche if it's good, and this is very good. What else do we have, Mr. Kyle? Do you have some album to convince me that I should listen to besides these two?
So you know how we use the podcast to influence the power metal world in our silly little ways?
Yeah, the dream.
Well, yes, exactly. I'd like to talk about the band Lycanthro and their new album Remnants of Rapture. Now, full disclosure, this band is mostly run by a friend of mine, James, who I've met at various festivals and like to hang out with a lot. And so you might think, oh, Kyle, you're biased for your friends' albums. You can be bought. And dear listener, that is 100% true. But I will still talk about this album because I think it's pretty good. And I'm not just saying that because I'm friends with like the main guy. Lycanthro is if I can get through this whole conversation without accidentally saying Lutharo, I am going to be so proud of myself. Lutharo is the Canadian Meladeth band. Lycanthro is the Canadian power metal band. With a wolf on it.
That's what I was thinking of. We were talking about this before we started recording. I was looking at the title and it's like, did I listen to this? And he's like, no, because we got the promo. Like, are you sure? We talk about this? Like, no, I was thinking of Lutharo, like from however many months ago. And it's always this, they have nothing to do with each other. It's just this concept. The concept attached to the names just gets mixed up in my brain.
And like, I don't think they've ever even like been on like the same festival together. Not to my knowledge, maybe they have, but I would love to like just see them back to back and then just be extra confused. I want to double down on that.
But yeah, tell me about Remnants of Rapture.
Overall, pretty strong power metal album. These guys I think they're embracing kind of like a more classic style where it isn't about the memes. It's not about like the super like keyboardy catchy choruses. Like they do have some strong choruses here, but this is more of a, it's a gentleman's power metal. Okay.
Okay.
I think they cite Blind Guardian as one of their main influences, which, no one's that good, but I always respect the ambition.
I mean, like everyone has. Who doesn't have Blind Guardian as an influence, anyways? Like,
Weaklings. That's who.
At
Fernando.
some point, you do. You just name them, but
yeah. So, like I said, this is pretty much straightforward power metal. They're bringing in some more trad metal influences here and there. There's like little dashes of melodeath and harsh vocals, just a little bit. Not enough to confuse them with Lutharo. Let me tell you that.
No, not even
definitely
close.
not. No. I think the album really picks up, especially in the back half. So about halfway through, there's a ballad, which I think is also kind of Blind Guardian inspired, just like the way the acoustics and the percussion in it, I felt gave me like a Curse My Name kind of vibe. But then after that, it really picks up with just pretty much like nonstop bangers. They also bring in some guest vocals. They've got Laura Gudemond from, I believe, Burning Witches, and Stu Block from Into Eternity on a couple tracks, just adding a little extra texture and a little extra variety to the styles there. Cool. I think my favorite track on the album is the last one, Solaris, which just really fast, really banging chorus. And I think part of like this album really leaves like a really strong lasting impression on me is when the last song is like the best one. And it didn't just feel like they wanted to burn like their hot single right off the bat and then call it a day. It all really comes together here as a strong package at the end.
Cool.
So yes, am I biased? Yes, but I think Lycanthro's album is pretty good. So there you go, James.
I see also David Atkinson did some backing vocals on this album. He's on the Power Metal Discord. Does vocals for a lot of people. David Atkinson.
Oh yeah, that guy gets around.
Yeah, he's a session vocalist for and a coach for a lot of people in the metal space. He's seen a lot of stuff.
Doesn't he also do a bunch of like photography, or am I mixing him up with someone?
You are mixing him up with someone else, I think.
Never mind then.
He's been doing live vocals for Symphony, and he was the live vocalist for Quantize at some point, stuff like that. But he does a lot of guest sessions. I just know the dude. That's it. That doesn't matter much. Gotta mention.
Excellent.
So I guess I will listen to this album just based on your love of it.
Yeah, give it a go. It literally just this morning, it was announced that Lycanthro had to pull out of Mile High Power Fest, which is really annoying.
It's
that we
really
can't even
annoying.
get fucking Canadians through the visa issues now. And it's like, and I'm pretty sure it was James that told me like Canadians have it easier than like every other country for getting into the US, but that could be wrong.
Or maybe just not true anymore. That's
or
probably,
anymore, just because everything's extra fucked right now. So yeah, I guess go to hyperspace or something.
Yeah, like hyperspace needs to step up now, and people start traveling up north to get all these things, which, depending where you are, might be doable, might not. Really sucks the situation that's happening, the reality you guys have right now. Meanwhile, I have so many power metal shows all close together that I need to stop going to them because they're gonna bankrupt me.
We have a handful of tours coming later in the year. I think there's like an Ailstorm Gloryhammer tour.
Yes.
Blind Guardian, they're coming back. They're coming for Christmas. They're going to play Somewhere Far Beyond, and power metal is saved.
That is good. Okay. Yeah, that is one shining light in these dark times. Truly. 100%. Yeah, because Ailstorm, they still have their I think they still have their visas from their last tour. I don't remember how that works, honestly. But that
I think it's a
tour is
year, and
secure.
that would be a year and a half later. So no,
Yeah, so maybe
they
it's
probably don't
it's a
have 'em.
separate thing. Yeah, but they're also like big enough, I guess. I don't know how.
I would hope so.
Yeah, but yeah, at least some tours. I know that some people were annoyed because there's a number of bands in the similar space that they are playing 1 or 2 festivals together, which means they are touring other cities at roughly the same time, and there's some conflicts. Like some people had Hailstorm lineup.
Like Minnesota or something is
Yeah.
has like 3 power metal shows in like a week or something
Yeah,
later this year.
yeah, which is like what happened to me this month.
Yeah.
Which is why I didn't go to, because I had Sonata Arctica, Powerwolf, Sabaton, and Stratovarius all within 2 weeks.
Jeez.
And that's a lot of money.
Your cup runneth over with all this power metal, Fernando.
Yeah, exactly. And also the Tarja and Marko. Like,
Tell me about the Tarja and Marko show, because this sounds like, Nightwish fan fiction here of like the former members, getting together to rock out.
It actually kind of was, because so this is the reality of this. I have always thought that the best Nightwish vocalist is Marko.
That's fair.
That's how it works. That's the reality of it. But I also really like Tarja, how she sings. I love them both.
She's an icon.
Yeah.
She's like defined an era.
I love them both as performers. I've seen Tarja live before. She plays Argentina a lot because she lived here for a long time.
Yeah, it's like her second home.
Her husband is Argentinian, and she moved to Spain, I think, because she wanted her kid to go to school in Europe. But otherwise, she lived here for a long time. She's basically ours. She speaks fluent Spanish, but she also speaks like 3 other languages. So I haven't gone to all the shows, but I've gone to a couple before. Like half her backing band is Argentinian people. She already did Tarja and Marko in Buenos Aires last year, and I missed it because I wasn't paying attention, and I didn't know it happened until it had already happened. But this time, they were doing it again. They were doing it with string orchestra. So they have a whole string section on stage playing with them. That's awesome. Not know the names of the songs. I have not really kept up listening to Tarja's solo work, and I have not really been... I'm not a Nightwish scholar to tell you all the non-hit songs by name, but I really like how they sing live. I had a great time at the show. The show was sold out. It was at our usual venue for international metal, which is 1,800 people, the capacity. I thought it would be on a larger venue, but I guess that's just how it is. Because she played a 5,000 capacity small stadium 10 years ago. But everyone was having the time of their lives. Everyone knew the lyrics to every single song that was played that night.
Even the non-Nightwish songs?
Even the non-Nightwish songs, which I assume some of them are. Because honestly, I look at the set list and I don't know these songs, honestly, because I don't...
Yeah, I just pulled up the set list and there's like 5-ish Nightwish songs on here out of like 20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but everyone was like, yeah, 100% singing along to absolutely everything. The first section of the show, so the first 8 songs were like just Tarja with the band. And there's a lot of first times. So for the fans, it was probably super special. I didn't know. But it's like, yeah, they play In for a Kill, first time since 2015. Sing for Me, first time since 2016. Deliverance, first time live since 2019. Which doesn't seem like much, but I guess, but she's been on tour, so.
This was a bigger deal then.
Yeah.
And she was there last year.
Yes. And she was not playing some of these songs. So then she did an acoustic section, which she's been doing on the tour. But here she opens with a cover of a classic Argentinian rock song called Muchacha Ojos de Papel. This is like this is a very popular song here. This is a classic for our country, for classic rock, which is not rock and roll. It's more of a jazzy pop sound. It's more complex in chords, whatever. And it's really weird to hear her sing it, which makes it interesting because the way Tarja sings It's not like this song is originally sung, which was a very soft, high male voice. And that's really cool. The funny thing is that most of the audience for Tarja, the Nightwish people, the people that like symphonic metal, are probably the Argentinian people that are the most detached from the classic Argentinian rock, which is old people music. But so a lot of people were just like standing there confused at what was going on. And meanwhile, I was like super enjoying it. I was one of the few people there that were like the perfect crossover where this works.
Yeah, well, you have like I guess like traditional old Argentinian stuff, and you're like newer metal side, all coalescing in this one entity we known as Fernando.
Like this crossover is much slimmer than one would think, because I can tell my dad, hey, I went to this metal show, they did these covers. He will know the song. And he will be, oh, that's so cool. Who's the person that did it? And I'm like, oh, it's Tarja from Nightwish Symphonic Metal. And then she's like, who the fuck is that?
So, like, what would be an equivalent? Is this like if she came here and started doing like Bob Dylan or something? Like, I don't really know.
Yes, exactly. It's exactly that. Yeah, exactly.
That would be weird.
The thing is, the song is much better suited, but culturally speaking, that would be a very good equivalence of the original artist.
Gotcha.
And she just did it with the guitarist, with Julian Barret, which is a part of her band. It's Argentinian too. It's part of other bands here. And then Marko joined for this string of acoustic songs. And they did live debuts. They played this for the first time again. They played these, I don't know, are these Nightwish songs, I assume? The Crying Moon, Feel For You, Eagle Eye. I'm sorry that I don't know these songs. I really liked the show. It was great. I like how they sing. I just don't know the actual content.
Sales on FM notes if there are Nightwish songs.
Yeah. Oh, right. You're right. It says. Yeah. So I guess they are. There's a medley of songs that they did. Higher Than Hope. That's a Nightwish song. It says here. Yeah. And first time since 2011.
Wishmasters. You know that one.
I know that one. I know Wishmaster.
Okay.
And
Wish I Had an Angel.
I Wish I Had an Angel. Yeah, those were not acoustic. This is not correctly annotated. Starting on, if you're looking at the set list, Left on Mars, those are already full band. They're no longer acoustic.
There's like a gap there between the acoustic ones.
Yeah,
that's really tiny.
That's not a good. That's not a. I don't like this.
Blame Celis.fm's design. Okay,
I'll send a ticket.
Send a very strongly worded email.
But yeah, they did. Left on Mars, which is a Marko song, Slaying the Dreamer, which is a Nightwish song, and Silent Masquerade, and Wishmaster. Everything exploded with Wishmaster, as expected. Course. It's very interesting hearing it with both of them singing. It sounds so good. It's not the same as just Tarja.
Marko wasn't even on Wishmaster originally.
No, he wasn't. But he's singing alongside with her, and that feels out the texture. It works really well.
Yeah.
And then they did the encore after a nice heartfelt small speech. And they did the promises, and they did I wish I had an angel. Again, the place exploded with that.
Of course.
It was perfect. Honestly, great show. I'm so happy I did not miss this one. I bought this ticket last year, I think. It was like immediately cannot miss this, and it was totally worth it. Marko is not there for the whole show. I know that some people might find that if they go to the tour, like not being ideal.
Yeah, because like it's pretty much like it says like, oh, it's Marko's there on the poster, right?
Yeah. It's billed as Tarja and Marko. That's the main thing. But
and you are getting Tarja and Marko.
Yeah. I think I don't know the deal. But I can tell you this, Marko sounds perfect. It's incredible how well he is sounding. I had a fear that, I don't know, that it was not going to be as good, but he sounds perfect. Has a golden voice, as usual. I don't know.
Yeah, like one time I saw Nightwish, I wished that he got like to shine more. Like I don't think they played the Islander or whatever when I saw them, which... It's like, oh, come on, that's such good stuff. Yeah, you didn't go to the Nightwish anniversary. Do you have that anniversary tour? It was the Decade show. That's the one I went to. Yeah, they played that in my show. Not mine. Mine is the one that's on the DVD as well. Well,
That's Buenos Aires shows for you.
San Jose is not a lit place for a metal show, let me tell you, okay? Compared to fucking Buenos Aires.
Well, this show was great. So happy I could go. Was absolutely amazing. I did go to another show.
Yeah, which other shows were you hitting up
before this? But this was not in Buenos Aires. So this is story time. Story time, because I don't think we didn't have a chance to talk about this.
Dude.
No. I realize now we never talked about this on the show yet because we didn't have the time. For some people might know, Gloryammer was going to have a tour in South America back at the end of April. They were going to have their first South American tour. They were going to hit Brazil, Argentina, Chile, and Paraguay, I think. And it was sadly canceled. I found out when we were at Epic Fest the day before.
Oh, right. Yeah. You were like translating their press release for them.
Yes. It was, we were at the bar, at the metal bar the day before Epic Fest, I think, or 2 days before, after the karaoke thing. And they told me there. It sucked. The main tour promoter, the one that was arranging everything for the tour, ghosted everyone. He didn't get flights. He didn't buy anything for the band. They have issues contacting the actual promoters inside the city they were going to hit. And originally, they were going to come to Buenos Aires, and after Buenos Aires, they were going to Sao Paulo in Brazil. So I was going to go there as well. And I bought the cheapest non-refundable flights for that.
Non-refundable, remember.
Yeah. And, well, now that trip was for basically nothing, so I had to make it worth it. And it so happened to be that weekend was the Masters of Rock festival. Masters of Rock or Masters of Rock? Masters of Rock, I think. And I was originally not going to go because it was kind of expensive. The bands were, the main bands were Judas Priest and other oldies, let's say it. The only one that actually was interesting for me was Savatage. Savatage, how do you pronounce it in English? Savatage?
I say Savatage.
I say Savatage as well, but I think in the show they say Savatage. I don't know. Maybe it was Brazilian people.
I've never seen them live and pronouncing it. So
I want to say Savatage because that's what makes sense in my brain.
It's actually Savatage.
It might be. I don't know. People correct us, send us messages, comment on the YouTube video. But in Sao Paulo, they were doing like a side show. They were doing a separate show after the festival, and it was just Savatage and Opeth. And that was nowhere near as expensive. So I did go to that in Sao Paulo since it was one of the days I was going to be there. And it was so good. So good. It was totally saved the trip. And I'm not a fan of Opeth. Never really been any of the eras. They were fine.
Yeah, they're not one I've ever really gotten into.
A couple songs were interesting, and other songs I was not that interested.
You got to really be into that style, I think.
You had to really be. I don't know. It's just not my thing. The main dude doing his stage banter is atrocious. I mentioned it, and some friends of us that are fans told me that yes, that's just how it is.
They're just really bad at stage. What does he say?
I don't know. The dude is just awkward and says weird things, and it's not. I don't know, man. It doesn't work for me.
That's weird. All right.
2 songs I liked it. I liked them a lot. They were from some album I do not recall now, but it's just not my thing. And then Savatage, and that's very much my thing. It's so good because it's more classic metal stuff.
They're very classic metal.
It has a lot more rock in it than power metal usually has, and I really like this style. And they are so good live. The band that they have now, the lineup that is playing now, it's incredible, honestly. I love it. They made those songs amazing live. There was a cool moment. There's a nice moment in the show that I think they do it a lot in shows where they do Believe with a recording of John Oliver with a video where he's playing piano and singing, and then the band joins with the recording.
That's cool.
And it's nice because he first addresses the crowd and gives a little message. So it doesn't feel like, it's not like when you just say, oh, we are just going to put the hologram and exploit the person.
It doesn't feel disrespectful.
Yeah, exactly. And it is a very specific thing where he clearly made it, right? The impression is like he wants to do that and be part of the show for that beat. And they say something and everyone loved it. It was so good. And the venue was amazing. The sound was awesome. Everything
I have
went
to ask,
great.
with how much we use John Oliver's face for emojis in our Discord server, did you struggle to take him seriously, or were you doing like Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at him like, oh, it's the guy who does the faces that we use?
No, not at all. Like I understand it. Like it's actually more endearing because I have this connection that not everyone else has in the venue.
You have a connection to John Oliver that nobody else at that show does.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some do, because the chance of someone in that venue being on the Power Metal Discord server is actually not that low. They might just not be regulars, so we don't know them. But the few of us that have that Loliva connection, it makes it just more special.
Oh, man. I would love to see that. Like, even just like when I went to the Trans-Siberian Orchestra show, and I think they just like mentioned the Olivas, and I'm just like, oh.
They also had a couple first times in the show for Savatage. Like looking at the set list, they played Another Way for the first time since 2015, Strange Wings for the first time since 2002, Taunting Cobras for the first time since 1998.
You're getting all these special shows
Turns to
over
Me,
down there.
first since 2015. The Storm, first time since 2015 with an extended guitar solo intro. This Is the Time, first time since 2002. The Hourglass, first time since 2002. And Power of the Night, first time since 2003. It was very good. Very, very good. They closed with Hall of the Mountain King. Everything was very amazing about the show. I got the sickest t-shirt. I love it.
So you did it. You came to Brazil. That's what they're always asking for.
Yep. It's worth it. It's worth going to Brazil, actually.
Going to Brazil, worth
People,
it. All right.
Need that, like that. You should pay attention when you see that message. It's worth it. You should go. You should go.
Excellent. Any more shows you want to bring up, or is that it for those?
I went to other shows we didn't talk about, because before Epic Fest, I went to Angra, Temple of Shadows 20th anniversary, before last tour, before they go into indeterminate hiatus. What was the word? Yeah, something like that. They're just going to break up, basically, without saying it. And I had to go. That was the reason I didn't go with you to London on vacation before Epic Fest, because that show was on the weekend before Epic Fest. So what a good show. But I got to admit something that because I am, as I've been mentioning on about these other shows, I am very bad with songs and song names a lot. And I've listened to Temple of Shadows in full more than once in the past.
Sure. I would hope
recently,
so.
And also more recently. But during the show, I think it was the fourth song or fifth, Fabio, who is the vocalist for Angra, looks at the crowd and goes, "Do you all know the name of the next song after the hits?" And you, instead of hearing a very loud, concrete cheer of, "Yeah, it's this song," everyone was like, confusion. Like, if you don't tell me the name of the next song, we're not playing it. Testing the crowd.
So when they got to one of the less popular songs,
he's like, "Do you actually like this album in full, or do you just like Temple of Hate?"
Look, Spread Your Fire, Angels and Demons, Temple of Hate, Winds of Destination. There's good shit on this album. Okay.
No, of course there is, but he tested like on the because this is the full album we're getting, right?
That is the struggle with these full album shows. Is like it's rare for every song on an entire album to really be worth it.
I can tell you they were all worth it because the whole experience is actually really good. But I definitely do not know all the song names. That's my brain just doesn't work like that. But it's so good to listen to this album live in full with all the acoustic guitars and things. Like it's very varied as an album. It's not just straight up speed all the time. And they actually pull it off really well. Like the sound was not as great on the show. That was my only struggle. The mix was very off, but it was still a very good experience. I went there with a friend, and we were standing at the back for most of it. Mostly because my friend was not feeling great. He had back pain. But then after they finished playing the whole album, they still played more songs. And
nice.
There's
more hits from other albums.
There's more hits from other albums, and when that happens, you just jump into the pit and go anyway.
So you're saying you abandoned your injured friend?
No, he went in with me, and and then
fair enough.
And it hurt for like 3 days for him, but he said it was very worth it because like when they started. They first did Faithless Sanctuary, Acid Rain, and Tide of Changes. And then went into the full Temple of Shadows playthrough. And then they played Rebirth. And then they played Carry On with the Carry On Nova Era, the mashup.
Right.
And that's why we just like, fuck it. We're going and it was so good.
Carry On Nova Era, come on.
Yeah, you cannot stand for that. Like the pit was amazing. What a good time.
When they did the Temple of Shadows had a lot of like guest vocals on it. Did Fabio just sing everything, or did they do anything to
Fabio
fill the gap there?
Fabio sang all the time. I think there was one vocal on track in one of the songs. I don't remember exactly now. It's been like 2 months.
Yeah.
I think there was one voice on track, but mostly it was just Fabio just doing it.
I guess Hansi, because like Fabio's voice is pretty different from Hansi.
Yeah, but it's just his voice is very different from Edu's. What's your point?
Well, yeah.
And something that you asked me about that we should mention is that there was gonna be a parallel show to this, where Edu Falashi is doing with his live on the Temple of Shadows 20th anniversary tour as well. And in the end, I didn't go to it. It was gonna be last week as of this recording, but I just forgot. Honestly.
Wow. To be so fortunate that you can just forget about that.
There were too many shows happening. I had to choose where I was getting a ticket or not. Like I almost saw Stratovarius 2 more times after Epic Fest because they were playing here and in Brazil, and I was going to be there for both, but it was so much more money. It's too much choice. Spoiled for choice here. And also other non-metal shows that I went to that I know be relevant to people here. But yeah, the Angra Temple of Shadows was great. If you live in I mentioned this in the previous episode for sure. If you live in a region where the tour is still happening and you like Angra, go see them. Might be the last time for a long while. It's worth it. They're very good live. Very, very good.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed their shows live. The couple times I've seen them, even when they're doing like stuff material I'm not as big on, like they're still excellent performers.
Yeah, exactly. And did you have any shows between Epic Fest and now, Kyle?
No. In a word, no, because they're all in fucking South America, motherfucker.
Yeah, all the ones are here now, but
and they're canceling their visas. Okay,
that's the worst.
We don't have shows.
Yeah, I know, but maybe you had stuff that was planned already for now. But you have something coming up, like in 2 weeks.
Yeah, Mad with Power is in a couple weeks. Like I mentioned, they just had a couple more bands drop out, but the show must go on. So I'll be at Mad with Power very soon, and then later this summer we've also got Mile High Power Fest I plan on going to this year, and Prog Power, assuming that doesn't explode. So yeah,
See, you have stuff it's just later than me, but you have your share.
It comes in waves. It always comes
Yeah.
in waves. Like last spring we had a ton of stuff, and I was only able to go to a couple of them. But now this spring it's you. You know, they're just like moving continents basically.
Yeah, basically that's just how it is. Oh, I want to special mention that the Angra show, was it the Angra show? Yeah, Azeroth opened for Angra as usual, and they are still very, very good live. Go listen to Azeroth; they are very good.
They're Argentinian, right?
Yes, it's indeed they are. They are the local power metal band, the one that's doing
Excellent.
the best right now. Honestly, we have very few of them that are actually like doing stuff actively and not just random
For how
recordings.
big the power metal shows of like like the Europeans are there, it's sad that you don't have like as like big of a local scene or as many bands of your own taking off.
That's the old Latin American or South American, I guess, inferiority complex. The thing is only good if it's foreign.
Right.
If it's
right,
local,
yeah.
it's automatically not good, which sucks. But it's the general audience mindset.
Yeah, I remember talking to a friend of mine from Colombia who said he doesn't like when bands sing in Spanish.
Yeah,
Like metal bands that sing in Spanish. I'm like, I thought that was odd, but when you put it in that perspective,
that is a very big thing. Singing in Spanish, being local, makes it lesser automatically, and that this changes by genre. Metal, and especially power metal as a genre, like the musical conventions are built around the English language. And when you sing in Spanish, you get a different musicality to it because the language is constructed differently when you're speaking it. So when you're singing, the melodies, where the emphasis on the different, or where the stress on the different words happen, on the different phrases happen, that affects the melodies that you write and the rhythms that you use. So if you are writing a melody that is like, this is some like it worked for Italy, where the Italians were writing in English and it sounds broken because they are using Italian musicality to sing in English. Right?
You're gonna win the Black Lord, dude.
Yeah, and if you take something that's more Nordic sounding, melody wise, and you try to sing it with the Spanish language, maybe where the stresses happen musically is at odds to where it would be normally. So when you write the melodies based on the Spanish language, you get different aesthetic results. And that, to people, it's like, oh, but that no longer sounds like power metal. It sounds different. And even when you pull it off, and not to be too smug about it, but I think the Gloryammer song in Spanish sounds really, really good without changing the melody.
Really? I wonder why.
Even when you pull it off, there is this perception where, since we consume popular culture and entertainment mostly from English-speaking countries, which is mostly the US, or from Japan, so it's always translated in a way. The fact that it's on your local language with the local accent and local sound makes it too real, instead of having that degree of separation to being an entertainment for outside of life thing. And especially for the escapismo power metal, when you hear it in your local sound here, that makes it too real. I think that is a big component to people. Even if they are not, they don't think like that explicitly. I think that's what's going on inside the minds of a lot of people when they hear that.
This friend from Colombia I was talking about, I think it was Opera Magna that I recommended to him.
Yeah,
who are from Spain and sing in Spanish. So it's it's a little different, but I guess it's still like that.
Well, that might be a different thing, because Spain's Spanish is very different from Latin American Spanish.
It is, yeah,
and especially in accent and in singing. You know that in Spain the bands actually do sing in Spanish most of the time. It's the other way around. Spain historically is very protective of the language, not as much as France, but They are. I think they had a law for a long time. If they don't still have it, but don't quote me on that. We gotta check it. Where everything that is entertainment imported to Spain had to be translated to Spanish. Only dubs, no subs, basically, the country. So the local bands don't have this mindset. Their mindset is like, I'm Spanish, I'm going to sing in Spanish, even if I'm doing a foreign style of music. And listening to that in Latin America, it's very different. It's still foreign. It still has that barrier. It doesn't sound local at all. At least that's in Argentina. The difference is like one of the most different ones between Argentina and Spain, I think, in sound. What a good tangent, man. This is cool. It's a cool topic.
We're really all over the place this episode, but I'm here for it.
Yeah.
We're learning so much about culture.
Yeah.
La cultura,
exactly.
one might say.
Yeah. Very good. You used the correct.
The stressing on the right syllable.
Yeah, everything
I
was
took Spanish
delicious.
in high school.
Yeah, I know. You also say that when I say you said something wrong. Like, you can use that for both positive and negative.
I know it's a great excuse because it lets me say, hey, I know some things, but I'm not very good at it and I'm out of practice. So if I fuck up, you can't get mad. And I also do things wrong to annoy you sometimes. That's important too.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's really funny.
Yeah. Have you noticed that I don't do that in English to you?
Yeah, well, I'm funnier than you.
Okay.
Remember, I'm the talent.
You
said
are the
yourself.
talent. Yeah, I know. That's why people stay for you.
Yeah, and it's definitely my charm and not your sexy voice.
Nah.
All right. Well, let's ignore the darkness inside all of us by talking about the light inside. This is a debut EP from a new symphonic-ish power metal band called Catalyst Symphony. And you've probably never heard of them. They are a pretty fresh new band. I only heard about them because I think one of their guys was like talking about them in the power metal Discord. And I'm like, I'll give this a shot. And it was like, low key, this is actually like really good. Normally when like random people show up in the Discord and plug their stuff, it kind of sucks. But this one was actually really good, so I made sure to keep an eye on it. So Catalyst Symphony are a band. I think they say they're from, I want to say Scotland, but I have members from all over. And if you look at their website, they like go into the backgrounds of their members, and they'll have pretty impressive like musical careers before just deciding to make a symphonic metal band. So their debut EP, The Light Inside, only has 3 songs, all of which are pretty good. But what really sells this band for me is like, you know, so often I think symphonic bands can get a little lost in the sauce, and they can like forget what makes music fun. And like this Catalyst Symphony has just such strong melodies. All of the use of the symphonic instruments feels very, very deliberate. It's not just overwhelming you. It's all in service of making just like a very fun, happy listening experience. And like the individual melodies that they have in these songs just always get me going. Like it's kind of simple and catchy, but like in a deceptive way, you know?
Yeah. I remember this person sharing it on the Power Metal Discord. They actually before they finished doing the EP, they had some demos and they were workshops and stuff. They were asking questions, so it was cool, like to see someone working on something and not abandon it. And actually pull through and do it. It's very cool to see it, because we have people come through that Discord in the music making channel, where there's a lot of people that know a lot of stuff about making, particularly metal albums. And sometimes you get a question and you never hear about the person again. But here, I don't know which of the members it was, honestly, by name.
I forget which one it was,
because I only know their Discord handle. But they came with stuff. People were talking like, maybe you should adjust this. I want it to sound like this, blah, blah, blah. And they actually finally finished and released this. So very cool to see it out. Very cool.
Yeah, they're definitely one to keep an eye on as they develop. I feel like every year or so, there's like a debut EP from some band that I get like kind of low key obsessed with. You know, like 200 listeners on Spotify type of band where I'm just like, this is the shit, man. And that, that's going to be, I think this is the next one of those for me.
Nice. You're going to keep an eye on it. An ear?
All right.
And
Both. Why not?
Both.
But they got music videos. They're on YouTube.
Yeah.
All right. I also wanted to talk about the new album from Valhalore, which is an Australian, like, folkish, mellow deathish, powerish band. A lot going on with these guys. But I really liked their first album. Been waiting for what feels like a long time for a follow-up. Supposed to come out last year, but then I got delayed to this year. But whatever. The new album, Beyond the Stars, is out. And I'll say I have mixed feelings about it.
Oh, no.
No, well, okay, pretty long album, or decently long, and there are parts of it where it all really comes together for me. Like the flutes and the strings are really kicking off along with the metal shit, and you're just like, oh man, this is what I come to like this style of band for. But then there's also, it feels like a lot of, I don't know, faffing about. Feels like there's like maybe a little too many interludes when I'm going through here, too many points where it's not all coming together for me. So I'm very conflicted about this because, like, in the middle of the album, there's a few songs that I think are just huge bangers. Really like The Storm, Within the Fire, Horizon, and The World Between. It's like when all of these disparate elements come together perfectly, that's when I'm like, yes, this has been worth it. There's also a lot of stuff in here where I'm just like, it just doesn't click with me as much as I want to. Whereas, like, I feel like their first album, it really goes hard. It's shredding way more, and that's the kind of stuff I get into. I don't know what it is. I just like the fucking flutes that they got going on. I want more flutes.
You're a flute guy. Wow.
I am a little
so
fluty.
much about you. Incredible. Flute guy.
Yeah. If you like big, like, epic folky stuff, I'd still say check it out.
And so what are the songs that you say that are the real bangers here?
So I thank God for the checkmark thing on Spotify. I liked The Storm, which I think was one of the bigger singles. Within the Fire was good. Horizon was another single. And then The World Between, I think, is the next one.
Because I think that's fine now. Gotta push those songs. They should see that
so the singles were generally the better ones, I think. And then it's just filling in the gaps didn't always come together for me.
Okay, hopefully they go in that direction then in the future.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's only 2 albums. You never really know where you're going to go from there.
Who knows? Do you have anything else here?
I have a few more I wanted to bring up briefly. So the next album is from a band called Dragonknight. This one came out really early in the year, and I totally missed it. I think it was actually a comment on one of our episodes that brought it to my attention. And so a debut album from a band called Dragonknight. Album's called Legions. And you might be thinking, wow, that sounds really generic. This is going to suck. But actually, it actually is pretty good.
Unbelievable.
It's like, yeah, I was shocked by like, wow, these guys are cooking. This is pretty good. So it's symphonic power metal where I think the elements of the power of the symphonic are really complementing each other well. The songs aren't like just overly like mimi keyboards. It really does sound like, no, these are some stronger songwriting roots than like your average joke band. The biggest and most impressive part of this, they have a song called Pirates, Bloody Pirates, has the fucking explicit label on Spotify. And I'm just like, oh man, is this going to be like a really shitty joke song? And like, no, it's actually one of the better songs. It's more like Running Wild Pirates than it is like Ailstorm Pirates, if I had to like put that on a spectrum, which is a weird thing to say.
No, it makes sense.
I'm like, wow, that was like the most impressive part of this album for me. And like, not every song on here is an all-out banger, but the ones that are, I would say, I think that's the lead single of The Legions of Immortal Dragonlords, which, yes, I know, generic sounding fantasy power metal, but it's actually pretty good. They have some really strong melodies here.
Cool.
So, yeah, and they're one of those bands where I don't think they have like revealed who their band members are. They just have like masks and like character names.
Yeah, I was looking at that right now because in Metal Archives the lineup is empty. They have only, but they have the names of who mixed it, who mastered, who did the artwork. But there's no band members.
The singer is a guy. I'm pretty sure it's the guy from like Metal De Facto and Everfrost. He kind of gets around, but the other musicians, I have no idea who they are. I think they're Finnish, but they say they're from the bitter cold north. So
I don't know. I feel like
one of those.
they are on Scarlet Records, right? So maybe,
Yeah, I was shocked when I saw that. So like, it's all these. Like,
so it's probably
Finnish
people from
dudes.
other bands already in Scarlet, because you know how
Not
these things
necessarily.
work.
I mean, fucking Fellowship's on Scarlet. Like,
Yeah, but Fellowship is not anonymous people.
yeah,
You know, that's
I mean,
what I mean.
I'm sure there's behind the scenes connections there, but
Yeah, I would like that.
It's just
That's where
like-
my brain goes first when you have, if you have some band, like, because we know they are normal now in the space. We have bands with either fantasy names for the characters, for the musicians or characters, or within a story, or they are archetypes that are easy to, I don't want to say, but easy to replace with other people. And then they are just built up from people that were in like 5 different bands before, and maybe the labels like that because it makes more artists easier. It's very cool that it's actually good album. That's great. That's a win for everyone.
yeah,
but
I
if
feel like this album has so many things that are going against it, but it actually ends up being good, which that is something worth talking about.
Yeah, cool. I'm gonna check it out.
So thank you to the guy who commented on our video about this. See, we check. I listen.
Yeah, we actually check. We don't get that many comments, so we can read them all. Speaking of which, you should comment more.
Yes. So I have another one I want to bring up, which is in my notes, I think I called it like the most Italian band ever. I wanted to talk about the Seventh Guild. I didn't know this was happening until like their album was out and like one of the music videos happened. So that this is a new band with their debut album Triumviro, an appropriate album name because this is meant to be an Italian power metal supergroup.
Oh,
Yes. So it has 3 main singers, that being, you might recognize Giacomo Voli, Ivan Giannini, and Tommy Fuller.
Oh, what? That is amazing.
Yes, it's an Italian power metal supergroup. And it just came out of nowhere. It's sick.
Why didn't you tell me it was these guys?
I thought you're an adult man, Fernando. You can look shit up.
Oh my God.
You're a power metal journalist.
What in the hell? This is,
yes,
on paper, this is
the most
awesome.
Italian album. Yes.
Is it good?
And it's really good.
Oh my God. I need to listen to this.
Yeah, you'll love this shit.
Oh my God. How do you have these 3 guys?
Yeah, I was shocked when I learned that this exists, and it's actually pretty damn good. I think I saved like more than half the songs on Spotify. So yeah, you know what's up there.
Wow. Awesome. I like it's
It feels
this
like musically it does feel like that old school power metal for a lot of it.
nice.
Italy never really, they never fully moved on from there, and we are thankful for that. I say that, but Windrose are Italian.
The name is probably Triumviro if it's Italian, because it sounds like triumvirate in Italian.
Yeah, it's probably an Italian triumvirate,
So
which makes sense.
Triumviro or Triumviro, one of those 2.
Yeah, it also has Daniel Mazza from Ancient Bards in there. So like, there's a lot. Like, if you look through the band members and like their other connections, it's pretty much everyone in this band has been in another Italian band you've listened to.
Well, yeah, that makes sense because the Italian scene it's big but still tight knit.
Big but tight, yeah.
Yeah,
just like me. Oh no, that's
because like the bass player was Freedom Call, Francesco Ferraro, Alessio Lucati on keyboards, Vision Divine.
Yeah, it's anyone who's anyone here. They need to get Fabio in there to but he might distract from the
drummer.
Everyone else, I don't know.
The drummer is on Gamma Ray, or was at some point. Damn, look at all these people. Primal Fear, incredible. Guitar, Simone Mularoni. I'm just gonna check all of these people now.
Yeah, it's everyone is in this like whole little power metal world.
DGM guitarist. Wow.
Yeah, I told you there's good shit here. You have to check out the Seventh Guild, dude.
Yeah.
Which I think it's a bad name for the band to call it that. But whatever.
The Seventh Guild. Yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe
the album name sells the concept much more than the band name, at least. With an Italian trio. and like with this trio of vocalists, I feel like their voices all kind of complement each other.
Oh, yes.
You might not really distinguish one from the other so much.
Mm.
They don't have like, oh, this is the high pitched one and this is like the gruff one.
Mm.
It's not that kind of like trio. They all kind of, I think they blend together nicely.
Mm. Nice. I'm definitely gonna listen to this first of anything else, like right after we finish recording.
Excellent.
This is so cool.
All right, and then I think I'll just talk about one more album if I can squeeze one more in.
Yeah, go for it.
So I want to bring up the band Scimitar and their album Scimitarium 1. Now, this is a band from Copenhagen. Shout out to Copenhagen. And it is not power metal like at all. So which is why I'm going to put it here at the end, because it's every now and then I just like to have my wild card shout outs.
Yeah.
And that's going to be this one. This is an album that I would say blends together like black metal and like punk rock.
Ooh.
And yeah, it's one of those where it's really hard to describe stylistically, but it's one that's definitely worth checking out because it has like this lo-fi kind of like punky energy, but it has like the blast beats. There's no way I could do it justice. So just listen to it. I think that's just the first. I mean, just listen to the whole fucking thing. It's all good.
I am very intrigued. This will go second after the Italian album.
Yeah, so get like the most power metal that's ever power metal with the Italians in 7th Guild, and then just hard turn to punk black metal with Scimitar.
Perfect evening.
From Copenhagen. That's a perfect evening right there.
Yeah.
It gets you a Fernando that can do both.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool. I like listening to music that's not power metal as well. So mentioning one or two albums every now and then, it's a good idea.
Yeah, and I like to throw the wildcard picks in there. For the real freaks in the audience, you know who you are.
Oh man, most people listen to varied music. Don't be close-minded, people. Enjoy other musics. You can actually do it. It's allowed. Give it a try.
You have permission from Fernando and Kyle.
Yeah, exactly. If someone questions you, you tell them that we told you that it was okay.
Yes, the Power Metal Podcast.
The Power Metal Podcast allowed it.
They say, what's power metal? And you say, oh, never mind.
That's a good chunk of albums to check out and a wildcard at that. Nice. We were missing this lineup of new albums and what to listen to, Mr. Kyle. Now you have dictated our taste for the weeks to come.
I'm happy to be a tastemaker. Oh, I was also going to mention Eluveity's new album. If you like, it sounds like Eluveity. If you like them, you'll like folk stuff. Owlbear also has a new album if you're into the more like trad and speed metal side of stuff. Owlbear's always a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I haven't listened forever at that album, but yeah, the live show is still in my
and definitely
mind.
See them live. Yeah, like I don't think it really does them justice without seeing.
Yeah,
them live.
no, the true strength of Owlbear is seeing them live, for sure. Cool, great.
All right, I think that's all I had for now. Go play some more Expedition 33. I got the platinum, but to our audience, go do that.
How many hours have you played that game?
It was like 65, I think.
Oh, you're having fun. Nice.
For a JRPG, 100%ing at 65 hours is
that's
not
nothing.
bad.
Yeah, no, that's very quick, honestly.
That is very reasonable. If you mainline it, it'll be like 30 or something.
Yeah, but who does that? It's a JRPG, right? What's the point? All right. Awesome. Thanks everyone for listening again. I guess
yes.
if you're hearing this because you're listening to the episode, so I can say that. Thank you for listening to the episode. Sorry we're late. We had life getting on the way. We're gonna release this like a week before, but
shit happens.
Was breaking. Yeah, we had many interruptions, but we made it. And
if you're gonna be at Mad with Power in a couple of weeks, hit up your boy.
Yeah, come find Kyle, say hi. I won't be there, but go find Kyle and tell him, hey, you're the guy from the podcast.
Hey, wait a minute. You said you weren't going to be there last year.
No, like for real, I'm not gonna be there this year for sure. It's not.
Okay, watch the live stream though.
I will put on the live stream. I will fall asleep probably because my time zone now it's like a bit out of sync than before.
There's Central Time though, so it won't be as late.
I'm going to bed early now.
Yeah.
I need to wake up really early now. So we'll see. But yeah, I'll have the live stream on, so you can find Kyle in person or probably see me in the chat with all the hundreds of people watching the stream. And hope enjoy the show, enjoy the festival. And then we're going to be back to the travel episodes.
People love the travel episodes.
People
apparently.
told us that they actually like the travel episodes. So we keep doing them. And we like doing them because we just talk about what we just did, which is always fun.
Yeah, it's good to just kind of like wrap your brain around all of it and actually process
it. It helps
happened.
us process it because they tend to be very packed with stuff. So it's good. It's good. And we hope that you enjoy listening to it. And we'll have another one like this, just talking about albums.
At some point.
At some point. Eventually.
August, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or July. We'll see.
We'll see what happens. But for now, we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks a lot for listening. If you're listening to this on YouTube, you can comment something and tell us how wrong we are on our opinions, or how wrong Kyle is in this case, because he reviewed most of the album.
You would never do that, though.
And you would never do that. Or recommend us albums to check out, or things that are going to come out, or shows to go to, whatever. Just say something. If you're listening on Spotify or on any of the other places, cool. I don't know. You cannot interact. So like it.
You can leave like a 5-star rating depending on what app you're using.
Yeah, if that still exists. Does any app do that anymore?
I have no fucking clue.
I don't know. We don't know. We are building a website allegedly. Someday it might happen. Check us out on Instagram, because I've been posting photos of Epic Fest. Because if I go to shows now, I'm taking pictures like a proper pseudo journalist. So
like a proper creep.
Yeah, I just found Powerful Podcast on Instagram or on Facebook if you're older. It's the same content on both. And we have the Blue Sky we don't use.
I just snagged the Blue Sky, so we have it.
Yeah, so someday we might post something there. I think we have a TikTok page we also don't use, or we should have one. I don't know. We should probably just.
We do have. What we do have is a Patreon page, and thank you to the people who are supporting the podcast on there.
Thank you to all our supporters. You help keep the podcast going because it's not free to distribute it, contrary to popular belief. So thanks a lot. If you think it's worth supporting the podcast so that we do it more, you can go find it. There's not a lot of stuff in there yet. There might be in the future. Who knows? But yes, thank you. Thank you, Kyle. We'll talk again later. Everyone, stay powerful. Bye.
Stay powerful.